Alright, guys and gals, welcome back to the Poke Historian. I'm your host, Matt X. Today, we're looking at some cards on the Pokemon card market that I think are woefully undervalued, but also have really sick artworks. So, what I think about these cards basically is they will be really fun for you to put in your binder right now and will be great display pieces. And I also think long term you will see them rise in value and might be a good little investment for you. So, with that, let's go ahead and dive into the first card on this list. We got old Banette from Ascended Heroes, everyone's favorite new chase set. Although apparently not everyone's new favorite chase card just yet. But to me, this has got to be one of the spookiest, coolest Pokemon cards we've had in recent times. Look at all the details we got here in the background. You got some Mareeps here hanging from the ceiling. You got a Mudbray right there. You got Solrock and Lunatone. You got Wingull. It's like the more you look at this card, the more you see, and it's just a really, really fun card. And look, it's come down a lot. Was that around $23 back in January? Now you can pick it up for around 10 bucks. Not a bad deal at all. And like I said, you will enjoy looking at this one for a long time if you get it and put it in your binder. All right, next up, another card from Ascendant Heroes. We got the Weavile here with its Weavile Gang. It's the evolution of Sneasel, which is also a cool Pokemon. I always thought Weavile was very interesting. You got that dark and ice combo going. It's got that kind of sinister vibe going on here. It looks like Weavile and its friends are about to go out there and cause some mayhem in this snowy town. And I think it's just a really cool scene. I would not want to run into them at night. So, you can see here it's also fallen, just like the Banette. Like back in February, it was around 14 bucks. You could pick up this card for like 8 now. So not a bad deal at all. And it's like, what do you have to lose spending $8 on a card? Basically nothing. If it goes to 6, so what? If it goes to 10, great. But long term though, I do think this is a card that people are going to want. All right, moving on. This is a more of a controversial choice, I would say, but it's a card that I really like, and that's the Carbink. So, is Carbink the most popular Pokemon in the world? No. But y'all, look at this artwork and tell me this isn't beautiful. I mean, look at all these different gemstones in the background. I think it really makes this card pop, and if you see it in person, it's even better. Like, it's got to be one of the prettiest Pokemon cards from Ascended Heroes. In fact, I wouldn't mind getting it in a 10, to be honest with you. So as we can see, it's fallen a lot. It was around 20. Now it's around 5 bucks. Oh, look at that. Yeah, so you can get it for around $5, $6. Not a bad deal at all. And like I said, just like with the Weavile, what do you have to lose? Alright, now let's look at some Phantasmal Flames cards. Oh look, it's the Piplup that Maddox is always talking about. Yeah, that's right, I still think this card is highly undervalued. Although it's gone up a few bucks in recent times, I don't really care because it's really not that much. This is a Gen 4 starter. It's probably the best design of the Gen 4 starters. It's a really cool scene. I love all the blues in it. I love the snowy scene. This is a card that people are really going to want someday. That's my personal opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And I highly recommend you pick one up if you haven't already. All right, next up, a more interesting one. We got the Flygon from Phantasmal Flames. And although Flygon isn't the most popular dragon Pokemon in the world, you have to admit it's still a very well-designed Pokemon, and it still is pretty freaking cool. And what I like about this card is it actually reminds me of the Aerodactyl from Lost Origin because you got the Pokemon flying up in the sky, and then if you look in the background here, you got details with all these other Pokemon hanging out. Like you got some Vibravas here, you got Lotad hanging out there in the corner, you got a Trapinch, you even got a Bramblin blowing around in the background. It's a very cool scene, and I do think that at its price, it looks like it's kind of been all over the place, just bouncing up and down a couple dollars. I mean, again, what is this, like $4, $5? I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. You could find $5 on the side of the street if you're lucky and pick this up. I mean, to me, another great pickup. All right, now we're going to look at a card that's a bit more expensive, but to me, highly undervalued for what it is. We have the Mega Kangaskhan EX from Mega Evolution. To me, this card is really sick. I do think these Mega Pokemon are going to do really well long term. The ones from the X and Y generation have also done well, but I think what this new generation of Mega Pokemon cards has done is they've actually given these cards really good artworks. I feel like the X and Y era was lacking that. And when we look back on these as we move on to future gens and possibly don't see Mega Pokemon again for a while, I think we're going to really learn to appreciate how cool a lot of these Mega Pokemon are. And this one right here really has kind of like gone down a lot, and it's just been kind of going up and down around like $60 or so. And I think that pattern is not going to last here long term. So picking it up for around like 62, $63, I could see this card easily like going to like 100, 150 someday. Kangaskhan's a Gen 1 Pokemon, is really cool, and it's really fun to have like the baby Kangaskhan out here too. And I like all this orange and blue in the background. I just think this card is really underrated, and definitely one of the cooler cards from that set. All right, now we're moving on to old Destined Rivals. Oh, look, it's Ethan's Typhlosion. We've never seen this card before. Yeah, well, it's going to keep showing up on lists and keep being a card I talk about because it's so freaking cool. This has got to be one of the most epic battle scenes, at least from the trainer's point of view, that I think I've ever seen here. I mean, Ethan is just going at it here with his giant badger, and there's flames going everywhere. Like, these two are freaking ready to heat it up, man. And look, like you can get this card for around like $27. Like anything under 30 for this card to me is an absolute steal. To me, I could see this card easily being a $50 card like in the next year or so. Does that mean it's going to be? No, but I mean, this does not look like a card under $30 to me. And it's from Destined Rivals, which is a really sick set too. So if you don't have this card yet, what are you even doing? Go get it. If for nothing else, just because it's such a cool card. All right, another one from Destined Rivals. We got Team Rocket's Houndoom here, with Houndoom jumping up in the air with fire coming out of its mouth. Archer looking up in admiration. Like, this is another really sick artwork. And Houndoom is such a cool Pokemon. It's like a skull dog with all this fires of hell type thing going on. How can you not like that? And look, you can get this card for around like $13. Like, that is such a great deal. Like, I could see this card kind of like the Ethan's Typhlosion being around 50. Like, it's a Gen 2 Pokemon, probably one of the coolest Pokemon from Gen 2. And here we have it at such a reasonable price from a set that's just incredibly popular. People of the good planet Earth, go pick it up. All right, next up, we're going to journey together to look at a card that Maddox has been squawking about since it came out. And we're looking at the squawky bird himself, Articuno. I'm not going to keep talking about how much I love this card. I'm just going to say I love it. And look, you can still get it for like 21 bucks. If you don't have this card yet, go get it. This is one of the most beautiful Pokemon cards I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Next up, my other favorite card from Journey Together, we got the Whale Lord. It's going up in price a little bit, but I mean, still, you can get this card for $13. Y'all, Whale Lord is super cool. It's a giant whale that's like inflated like a balloon. And look how big it is compared to that tiny boat. This is a really, really nice card, and I love all the coral in the background and everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful card. So anyways, those are some really, really cool looking cards that I think are highly undervalued and will serve you well long term. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments what are some cards that you think should have been on this list that I didn't cover. Also, hit the notification bell for notifications. Talk to you later.